Chosen one, a family member now knows the truth. Uncontrollable tears have begun. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when truth, long hidden in silence and suffering, begins to reveal itself with undeniable force, not through words, but through tears. You were not called to be understood, you were called to be revealed in divine timing. For so long you walked misunderstood, misjudged, and even mocked by the very ones who should have protected your destiny. But God kept you hidden, not because you were unworthy, but because the timing of truth is holy. And now that hour has come. A family member has finally seen what heaven saw all along. The veil has lifted, and the light you've carried, silently, faithfully, is now too bright to ignore. Their tears are not weakness. They are prophetic confirmation. You were the vessel, you were the message, you were the answer they didn't know they needed. And now in their tears you are being seen spirit to spirit. This isn't just emotion, it is heaven breaking through bloodlines, shaking foundations, and rewriting legacies. The uncontrollable tears have begun, and with them a divine unveiling. The truth has entered the room, and you are the evidence. Consciousness creates connection. Your inner awakening has shaken their reality. You didn't need to announce it. You didn't need to post about it, debate it, or beg anyone in your family to understand what was happening within you. The transformation that took place in your life, this great spiritual awakening, began in secret, in silence, in solitude. You changed without permission, you evolved without warning, and in the stillness of your becoming, everything around you was silently being rearranged. A family member has now seen the evidence of the unseen, and though they cannot explain what they're feeling, though words fail them in the moment, their soul has awakened, and uncontrollable tears have begun to flow, not from sadness, not even from guilt, but from the overwhelming realization that the person they once dismissed, misunderstood, or quietly judged was carrying something divine all along. You didn't have to preach your way into their heart. It was your consciousness, your vibrational shift, your inner world transformed, that broke through the fog of their assumptions. It was never about proving anything. It was always about embodying truth so powerfully that those around you would eventually have no choice but to see. This is the great mystery of spiritual awakening. It begins inside but reshapes everything outside. You weren't just changing for you. You were changing for everyone connected to you, whether they supported you or not. You were healing bloodlines, breaking mental chains, disrupting centuries of pain that wore the mask of tradition and identity. And one family member, perhaps the one you least expected, has finally felt the ripple of your resurrection, not through logic, not through reason, but through something far deeper, resonance. Your presence is different now. You don't even have to say anything. Your energy speaks first. You walk into a room and the atmosphere bends around you. You speak softly, but the weight of your words pierces hearts. This family member has been watching in silence. Watching the storms that couldn't break you, watching the rejection you outlived, watching the way you loved even when you weren't loved in return, and now the veil over their eyes has been torn. They see you, they see what you've become, and it has shaken them to their core. They don't even know why the tears are coming, but deep down, something inside them knows. They missed it. They missed the depth of your pain. They missed the intensity of your journey. They missed the sacred fire you were walking through when they thought you were just distant, rebellious, or different. And now they grieve, not just over what they didn't see, but over what they feel. Your light is blinding. Your truth is undeniable. And though you never demanded they understand you, they are now desperate to. Because once spiritual truth is encountered, nothing can go back to normal. Normal is shattered. Denial is shattered. Pride is shattered. And what remains is only this raw, tender vulnerability. Their tears are a form of surrender. They are not weeping only because they now know. They are weeping because their soul remembers. This is not just an emotional reaction. This is a spiritual recognition. Something inside them now bears witness to who you truly are. Your inner awakening did not just elevate you. It disturbed the sleep of everyone connected to you. And while many in your family may still be spiritually asleep, this one member has stirred. They are awake now, and awakening always begins with tears, because to see truth for the first time is to realize how blind you once were. To feel love radiating from someone you misunderstood is to be broken open. Your consciousness has made contact with theirs, not because you tried to, because that's how energy works. When you lift your frequency, you lift the space you occupy. You shift timelines, you shift destinies, and now, even the ones who doubted you can't escape the impact of who you've become. This family member may try to speak through the tears. They may say things like, "I didn't know," or "I didn't understand," or "I'm sorry," but words will never be enough. They know that, you know that, and you're not here for words. You're here for alignment. Forgiveness was already given in the spirit long before it was ever asked for in the natural. Because your love isn't carnal. Your love doesn't seek revenge. Your love flows from the divine, and now they know what they're standing in the presence of. They aren't just looking at their sibling, cousin, child, or relative anymore. They are looking at a vessel of sacred power, a carrier of truth, a person who walked through the dark night of soul and emerged with light in their hands. That realization humbles them. They may feel guilt. Don't let them stay there. Guilt binds, but truth sets free. Remind them with your eyes, with your energy, with your grace, that all of this was meant to be. Their delay was divine. Their blindness was part of the plan, because if they had seen you earlier, they would have interrupted what God was doing. Now they're seeing you just in time, not for who you were, but for who you were always becoming. Their tears mark the end of one era and the beginning of another. A spiritual rebirth is happening not just for you, but for them too. Your awakening is now birthing theirs. Do not gloat. Do not retaliate. Do not remind them of what they failed to do. Instead, stand in your truth. Let your silence speak. Let your grace teach. Let your energy do the healing. The same power that sustained you through your silent seasons will now use you as a mirror for others. That one family member will never look at you the same again. They've been marked by your transformation. They've encountered God through you, and now something in them is shifting. The layers are being peeled back. They may not become what you are, but they will never be who they were again. You see, when a chosen one awakens, it doesn't just change their life. It creates a gravitational pull. Everyone connected to their lineage must eventually confront what they've witnessed. You weren't trying to change them. But the truth is, you were always the catalyst. You were always the interruption. You were the one assigned to wake up first. Not for applause, but for alignment, and now that moment has come full circle. The tears of your family member are proof that spiritual transformation cannot be denied forever, proof that love is stronger than memory, proof that your healing has begun to spill over. You didn't need to fight for a seat at the table. You became the table, and now they are sitting at it, not because you asked, but because the truth has summoned them. The vibration of your spirit has shattered the illusion of the past. A new chapter is unfolding, one where love flows without fear, one where recognition replaces rejection, one where the family begins to heal, not because you demanded it, but because you became it. And it all started with your consciousness, the inner world you chose to master, the truth you held in silence, the awakening that shook the heavens. And now the tears of one family member prove it has shaken the earth too. Imagination is the seed of divine remembrance. They are seeing what you already knew, everything you've ever experienced. Rejection, the loneliness, the silence, the misunderstanding was necessary, because before anyone could see you for who you are, you had to know it within yourself first. That knowledge didn't come from a book, a sermon, or even a conversation. It came through imagination, the sacred faculty given to you to glimpse the end from the beginning. Long before your family saw anything, you already knew. You imagined yourself out of spiritual bondage. You pictured freedom when chains were still on your wrists. You held visions of healing while the wounds were still open. You walked through your house, through family gatherings, through casual conversations, carrying a reality that no one else could see, and now what was once invisible is being revealed. One family member has had their spiritual eyes opened. The truth that you imagined about yourself, your calling, your journey, is now becoming undeniable to them. The tears they cry are not merely from shock. They are the soul's cry of recognition. They are seeing what you knew all along. Your imagination was not fantasy, it was prophecy. While others were trapped in appearances, you lived from the unseen. You saw the divine image within you when others could only see the past. You believed in a version of yourself they mocked, avoided, or ignored. But you believed anyway, and that belief became substance. That faith took on form. You remained steadfast in your unseen vision, and now your outer world is catching up. But it isn't just your circumstances that are changing, it's the way others perceive you, particularly this one family member, the one who perhaps used to roll their eyes when you spoke with passion, who stayed silent when you were in pain, who couldn't understand your withdrawal, your silence, your spiritual hunger. That person is now being confronted by the truth your imagination built, and they are overwhelmed. Their tears are proof that your inner world has collided with their outer reality. The light they denied has become too bright to ignore. You see, imagination is creation. When you imagined yourself healed, loved, purposeful, chosen, you weren't escaping reality. You were rewriting it. You were planting seeds in the invisible soil of spirit, seeds that have now broken through the surface. Your journey wasn't about forcing others to see. It was about staying faithful to unseen until it became seen. Now your transformation has become a mirror for those around you. That family member doesn't just see your outer glow. They feel your inner certainty. Your vibration has changed. The air around you speaks of peace, resilience, and quiet power. They don't understand how you made it through. They don't know how you kept loving after betrayal, how you kept giving after being forgotten, how you kept showing up even when you were spiritually bleeding. But the truth is, you weren't surviving, you were creating. Through imagination, you were always ahead of the moment. You lived from the future while still walking in the present, and now the world is catching up. So is this family member. Their tears may be mixed with confusion, with regret, with awe, but deep beneath the emotions is a spiritual truth they are remembering. They are remembering a version of you that always existed but was buried beneath labels, assumptions, and family roles. They are remembering the light you carried as a child. They are remembering the uniqueness they once dismissed as weirdness. They are remembering what their soul always knew. You are different because you were called. This moment of revelation is not just about you, it's about them. Your imagination didn't just shape your life, it has now touched theirs. It has called them into awareness. It has exposed the hollowness of appearances and awakened something real. You became a living testimony, not by preaching, but by imagining so deeply and consistently that your life could not help but transform. And now, standing in the presence of that transformation, they weep. They weep because they missed it. They weep because they judged what they didn't understand. They weep because something holy is unfolding before them and they no longer know where to place it. Who are you now? You don't fit into the mold they had for you. You don't play the same roles. You don't respond the same way. Your silence carries power. Your words carry light. You walk like someone who has walked with the divine. They are watching the manifestation of the very things you once cried about in secret. They are seeing the fruits of what you imagined when you had nothing but faith, and in that confrontation their ego crumbles, their old perspective dissolves. All they have left is their tears, and those tears are sacred, because through them the heart softens, the mind opens, the spirit awakens. What they don't realize yet is that your imagination didn't just redeem you, it also protected them. While they misunderstood you, you were praying for them. While they doubted you, you were seeing a higher version of them in your mind. You weren't holding resentment, you were holding space, because you knew that if you could change, anyone could. And now that their spirit has touched truth, you are the safest place they can cry. You don't need to explain who you are anymore, you are the explanation. You don't need to defend the journey, you embody it, and in this moment that family member sees it all. The questions are gone, the resistance has crumbled, all that remains is humility. Born through tears, nurtured through remembrance. Imagination is a divine gift. Most people use it unconsciously, repeating the same cycles by imagining the same fears, but you broke the loop. You imagined new things. You imagined yourself free, whole, purposeful. And heaven responded. Now that someone in your family has seen the evidence of your imagination's power, a crack has formed in the illusion they lived in. Their spirit knows there's more. Their emotions are the beginning of their own awakening. They may not say it out loud. They may not even fully understand what's happening, but the seed has been planted. They saw your truth, and now they must confront their own. This is the beginning of a new dynamic. No longer the old role, playing of family politics and expectations. Something sacred is being rebuilt, a relationship not based on the past but on presence, not based on blood alone but on spirit. Your imagination created this moment. It brought you to the version of yourself that they now recognize, and Now it will carry you further. Don't stop imagining. Don't lower your frequency to make others comfortable. Instead, continue to imagine them healed. Imagine them awakened. Imagine them free from illusion. Because the same way your inner world transformed you, it will eventually transform them. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be faithful to the unseen truth within you, and when that truth matures, it becomes so undeniable that even the hardest hearts break, even the most silent relatives cry, even the most skeptical ones begin to soften. That is what's happening now. They are softening not because you demanded it, but because your light made it impossible to stay blind. Your journey wasn't in vain. Your silence was not wasted. Every time you imagined your wholeness while still feeling broken, you were prophesying this very moment, and now it has come. So let the tears fall. Let their spirit remember what their mind cannot comprehend. Let them encounter the divine, not through a sermon, but through you, through your transformation, through your unwavering imagination. Because the truth is, they're not just crying over you, they're crying over the version of themselves they now realize is possible, and it all began because you dared to imagine. Spiritual isolation was never rejection. It was preparation for revelation. They thought you were distant, cold, changed. They whispered behind closed doors that you were different now, that something about you didn't feel the same, and they were right. You weren't the same, but what they never understood was that your silence was not rooted in anger. It was rooted in elevation. You were being set apart, not by choice, but by calling. The pain of being misunderstood, especially by those you love most, wasn't punishment, it was positioning. That spiritual isolation you endured, when family stopped calling, when conversations felt forced, when invitations dried up and love felt one-sided, it was never about rejection, it was preparation. You were being hidden, separated, sanctified, because the version of you that was emerging could no longer be entangled in what no longer aligned. God didn't isolate you to abandon you. He isolated you to reveal you, and now the revelation has begun. That family member, the one who once judged your distance, now sees what you were becoming all along. And the uncontrollable tears that have begun are not merely about remorse. They are about realization. They are seeing what they couldn't before. You weren't withdrawing. You were becoming. There were days you cried alone. Nights you wrestled with God, wondering why it had to be this way. You questioned your own heart, asked if you were being too sensitive, too dramatic. But something inside kept pulling you away from surface-level connections. The family gatherings felt spiritually suffocating. The conversations drained you. The expectations felt like chains, and no matter how hard you tried to force yourself into their old image of you, it never fit again. That wasn't your ego, it was your spirit. Your soul was being prepared for something greater, something higher, and spiritual preparation often looks like personal abandonment. But what felt like them leaving was really God pulling you deeper, deeper into solitude, deeper into clarity, deeper into yourself. The shell of who you were had to be stripped away so that the light of who you are could shine without filter. And now that light is breaking through their blindness. One family member has seen it, and they're weeping not just because of your glow, but because they realize they missed the becoming. You were never bitter. You just became unavailable to what didn't align with your growth, and that made people uncomfortable. They thought you were acting brand new. In truth, you were being renewed. Your spirit began to recognize that love without depth was not enough, that connection without understanding was draining, that conversations without substance left you feeling hollow, so you pulled away, not out of pride, but out of necessity. You didn't slam doors, you just stopped explaining. You didn't raise your voice, you just started listening to the voice within. That inner voice led you through lonely seasons, dry places, wilderness paths, and now it has led you to a moment of divine vindication. Because when the spirit isolates you, it is never forever. It is until the revelation, until the awakening, until the family sees the glory that silence protected. That family member is remembering every moment you were present but unseen. They're remembering how you smiled while silently breaking, how you gave while secretly needing, how you showed up for others while no one showed up for you. And now they're broken, not because you're suffering, but because you've risen. You're not bitter, you're better. You didn't harden, you healed, and that healing now reveals the purpose behind your distance. It wasn't rejection, it was rebirth. The version of you that stands before them now could only be formed in the fires of solitude. The isolation stripped you of performance. You stopped being who they wanted and started becoming who you were. That's what revelation looks like. It's not flashy, it's quiet. But when it comes, it shatters illusions. That one family member has had a veil torn. They no longer see you through the lens of familiarity. They see you through the lens of truth. Their tears are the soul's acknowledgement that something holy has unfolded. They now realize that your silence was sacred, that your distance was divine, that your isolation was an incubation. Destiny, you didn't just disappear. You were planted, buried, hidden, so that what was growing inside you could come forth without contamination. Don't shrink back now. Don't apologize for the quiet years. Don't regret the seasons you spent alone, because those seasons created the strength, wisdom, and power they now weep in the presence of. You were not absent. You were being transformed. The family couldn't see it then, but they see it now, and that's all the proof you ever needed, not in applause, not in explanations, but in recognition. The heart knows what the mind cannot always articulate, and now a heart has recognized you, and in that recognition a crack has formed in the walls of generational misunderstanding. Healing begins. You don't need them to say everything. The tears say it all. The tears say, I didn't know. The tears say, I judged you without understanding you. The tears say, I see you now, and you respond not with resentment, but with grace, because the truth is you never needed their validation. You were validated by the voice within. You were led by unseen hands. You were comforted by a divine presence in the midnight hours. That comfort sustained you when their silence felt like betrayal. That presence fed you when your name was left off invitations. That love nurtured you when no one checked in, and now you lack nothing. You are whole, complete, and that wholeness now ministers to the very people who thought you were lost. Spiritual isolation wasn't easy, but it was sacred. It pruned you, it preserved you, it made you unshakable. While they bonded over gossip, you built with God. While they laughed at your absence, you labored in silence. While they stayed the same, you elevated, and now the fruit is visible. One family member has tasted it. Their soul is remembering what their mind denied. They're weeping for you, but also for themselves, because your revelation is also their invitation. They now sense there is more. They realize there was purpose in your pain, destiny in your distance, and now they want to know, not just about your journey, but about your God. That's the power of being chosen. Your process isn't just for you. It's for everyone connected to you. Your silence was loud in the spirit. Your separation was strategic. Your isolation was intercession. And now the ones who thought they lost you are realizing they're just now discovering you, the real you, the healed you, the chosen you, the one who had to leave in order to truly return, not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be. So stand tall. Don't rush the moment. Let the tears fall. Let the silence linger. Let the weight of revelation do its work. That family member is not weeping out of pity. They're weeping because the Spirit has pierced their soul. Something eternal has been awakened. You didn't preach it. You didn't force it. You simply lived it. You became it. And now your very presence has become the sermon they'll never forget. Spiritual isolation was never rejection. It was preparation. You weren't being pushed away. You were being set apart. And now that you've emerged glowing with truth, anchored in purpose, filled with peace, they see, and in their tears they honor what they once dismissed. Your story is their mirror. Your strength is their reminder. Your revelation is their reckoning. And the next chapter, it begins here, in tears, in truth, and in the power of the revelation they can no longer deny. Divine timing unlocks divine recognition. The hour has struck. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when heaven's clock strikes, and what has been hidden is finally revealed. Not a moment sooner, not a second delayed. This is the mystery and perfection of divine timing. You see, everything you've endured, every misunderstanding, every rejection, every silence from your family was leading to this precise hour. You didn't force it. You didn't chase it. You waited even when waiting broke your heart. Because deep within your spirit you knew something they didn't. The day would come when the truth would speak for itself. That day has come. That one family member who once dismissed you, ignored you, or even mocked you sees you now. Their heart, once closed by pride or confusion, has been unlocked not by your efforts, but by God's timing. And in the light of that recognition, the tears they now cry are unstoppable, because when the truth is finally seen, it breaks everything false that came before it. They're not just seeing who you are, they're seeing how wrong they were, and that realization carries weight. But don't mistake this for regret alone. No, this is more than guilt or sorrow. This is revelation. For the first time, they are witnessing glory that was always on you but hidden under layers of misunderstanding and timing. They're not seeing the person they once knew. They're seeing the person you became through fire. You didn't get here overnight. It took years of spiritual death and rebirth, silence and prayer, tears and surrender. And all of it happened away from their eyes because God didn't allow them to witness your process. He reserved their sight for the product. Why? Because had they seen you too soon, they would have tried to shape you in their image. But now they're seeing the image of God in you, and they can't explain it. That's why they cry, because no words are enough. Their soul is recognizing something their mind cannot articulate. This is what divine timing feels like. Sudden, overwhelming, holy. You see, heaven doesn't work by human clocks. While your family was waiting for visible change, degrees, jobs, titles, accolades, God was working in secret, transforming you in realms unseen. The moments they thought you were lost, confused, or rebellious were actually moments of sacred formation. You were being emptied of ego. You were being stripped of false identity. You were being refined, not for your comfort, but for your calling. And now the calling is showing. Your aura has changed. Your presence speaks before you open your mouth. You walk differently, not with arrogance, but with authority. That's what they feel when they look at you now. That family member who used to talk over you now sits in silence, not because you demanded respect, but because your transformation commands it. Divine timing has unveiled you, and heaven will not let you be ignored. This family member's tears are the signal that a spiritual door has opened. Something they resisted for years has now rushed into their awareness. It's not just that they see your glow. They see their own blindness. They see how long you carried burdens in silence, how deeply you loved while being misunderstood, how you endured when they expected you to break, and now the shame of that realization brings them to tears. But do not let them stay there. Guilt is not your harvest, recognition is. This is not your time to punish. It is your time to shine. God didn't keep you hidden all these years so you could gloat when you were revealed. He kept you hidden so that when you were revealed, it would be unmistakable that it was His doing. The beauty of divine timing is that it makes room for reconciliation. Not every family member will see. Some will remain blind by choice, but the one who's crying, that one has been chosen to witness your ascension. They are the first fruit of recognition, and where there is one, more will follow. Your journey was never just about personal healing. It was generational. What they see in you now is not just a healed individual. They see a shift in the bloodline. They see freedom where there was bondage. They see faith where there was fear. They see purpose where there was confusion, and it humbles them. Don't rush this moment. Don't explain it away. Let them sit in their tears. Let their heart receive what their mind fought against. Because in this silence, something eternal is happening. Their old perception of you is dying. A new vision is being born, and it's not about your achievements. It's about your essence. They feel the presence of God on you. They sense that you carry something sacred now, and they know, no matter how they try to intellectualize it, that they are standing in front of someone who has been touched by heaven. That knowing cannot be undone. For years you wondered why you felt invisible, why you were the outcast in the family, why no one truly got you, but now you see it clearly. You weren't invisible, you were preserved. You were hidden like a seed in the soil, covered in darkness until the right time, and now, just like a flower pushes through the dirt at its appointed hour, you have emerged, not fragile but full, not bitter but radiant, not ashamed but anointed. And in your blooming, someone is now seeing not just who you are, but who they could become, because your recognition is not just about you, it's a mirror. That family member crying isn't just mourning the old, they're glimpsing the new. Your glow makes them reflect. Your elevation stirs something dormant in them. Perhaps they once had dreams they buried. Perhaps they too were called, but got lost in life's noise, and now, watching you walk in your truth, they are being awakened. Don't underestimate this moment. It's not just a reunion, it's a resurrection. Something in them is coming alive again. The tears are just the beginning. You never needed validation. You needed timing, and now that the hour has struck, let the light do what light does reveal. Let your presence minister without preaching. Let your peace be the proof. Let your journey speak louder than explanations ever could. Divine timing doesn't need backup. When the hour comes, everything aligns, hearts open, eyes clear, minds quiet, and in that sacred space, the truth enters without Resistance, what makes this moment holy is that you didn't strive to make it happen. You surrendered, you let go, you accepted being misunderstood, you endured being overlooked, you walked alone, and now you walk seen, not for fame, not for applause, but for purpose. That family members' tears are your confirmation, not just that you made it, but that your journey mattered, that your obedience in silence is now bearing fruit in the open. So breathe, let the hour unfold, let divine timing continue to do what only it can do, because what has begun cannot be reversed. The eyes that have seen will not unsee, the heart that has recognized will not forget, and the family that once misunderstood will now start to remember. This is just the beginning, and all of it, every single part, was worth the wait. The hour has struck, and you, chosen one, are standing in your divine unveiling. Tears are a prophetic sign. Heaven is touching earth through them. There is a sacred moment in every chosen one's journey when the veil finally lifts, not just for them, but for someone connected to them. A moment when the supernatural becomes visible, when the spiritual becomes tangible, and when hearts break open under the weight of a truth too powerful to ignore. That moment is here. Those uncontrollable tears from a family member are not merely emotional reactions. They are prophetic signs. The spirit realm is colliding with the natural realm, and what was once hidden is now being felt. Not explained, those tears are not ordinary. They are divine. They are heaven's fingerprints on the soul of someone who has finally touched the truth you've been carrying in silence. You didn't beg for their understanding. You didn't argue to be seen. You simply became the living revelation of what obedience to God looks like, and now their tears confirm that your assignment has reached its turning point. Heaven is touching earth through you. You were never just walking through your own story. You were walking a prophetic path, and while it felt lonely, confusing, even excruciating at times, what you couldn't see was how many spiritual eyes were watching. Angels assigned to your journey, heaven recording your faithfulness, and souls, yes, even those in your family, being prepared for a moment of divine recognition. Every tear you cried alone prepared the soil for their tears now. Every moment you chose peace over reaction, silence over revenge, forgiveness over bitterness, you were not just preserving your destiny, you were preparing theirs, because now, in the presence of your transformation, their tears are not sorrowful, they are sacred, they are the body's way of releasing what the spirit has just realized. God was with you all along. Don't rush past this moment. Don't minimize it, because it is not just an emotional breakdown. It is a spiritual breakthrough. This family member has encountered something eternal, and that encounter came through you. They didn't need a sermon. They didn't need a church building. All they needed was your presence, your transformed, healed, awakened presence, because you have become a portal between dimensions. You have become the living evidence that God still speaks, still moves, still raises people from emotional graves. Tears are not random. They are prophetic evidence that a soul has just come into contact with divine truth. And that truth is you. You didn't go through what you did just for your own healing. The pain you endured, the betrayal you overcame, the identity you reclaimed, none of it was wasted. It was spiritual currency, and now someone in your family is cashing in on your obedience. Their tears are the harvest, because what they feel in your presence is not just awe. It is conviction, it is recognition, it is longing. They don't even have words for it, but their spirit knows. Something holy is happening. They may not know how to articulate it, but deep inside they've come face to face with divinity, not a distant God in the sky, but a living, breathing vessel of his love you, and that is too overwhelming to experience without weeping. You may have wondered why their heart was hard for so long, why they never listened, why they couldn't understand your silence, your distance, your transformation, but what you didn't see was the war in their spirit. God was softening them, breaking through old patterns, preparing them for this exact hour. Because prophetic moments are not created by force, they are created by timing, and now the divine hour has come. The Holy Spirit has moved, and that movement has created a reaction in the visible world, tears. When heaven invades earth, emotions cannot remain untouched. Their tears are not just a release. They are a response to divine glory. Something eternal has touched something human, and in that collision the soul surrenders. You don't need to say much in this moment. Just be, because your presence is doing the work. Your presence is speaking louder than words ever could. You are a mirror now, not of the past, not of their expectations, but of truth. You are the evidence that surrender leads to elevation, that rejection leads to redirection, that pain can birth power. And as they cry, they are not just grieving the distance, they are receiving the divine. Those tears are cleansing years of misunderstanding, melting hardened hearts, breaking generational pride. You have become the catalyst, and heaven is using your glow, your silence, your peace to do spiritual surgery in their soul. And here's the most important thing: these tears are only the beginning. They are the sign that a shift has occurred. After this, nothing will be the same. Their perception of you has changed forever, but more than that, their perception of God has changed, because they encountered him through you. That's the true mark of a chosen one. Not how loudly you speak, but how deeply you radiate. You carry light now. You carry oil. You carry truth. And the moment someone comes near you, if their heart is even slightly open, they will feel it. And when they do, they will weep. Because truth exposes everything that is false. Love exposes every unhealed wound, and glory exposes every dormant destiny. Their tears are a form of baptism, a washing away of the old perception. They may try to apologize, to explain, to confess. Don't worry about what they say. What matters is what their soul has just experienced. Let the Spirit do the work. Let the tears fall, because God is not just healing them. He's healing you too. He's healing the years of silence, the ache of being misunderstood, the grief of spiritual loneliness, the part of you that longed to be seen by your own blood. Now that part is being comforted. You are no longer invisible. You are recognized, and not for what you do, but for who you are. The prophetic sign has been given. Heaven is affirming your assignment through their tears. You don't need another confirmation. This is the confirmation. The moment they cried in your presence, the spiritual realm echoed with agreement. Well done. You did what others couldn't do. You carried light through darkness. You became the answer without needing the applause, and now you are being honored, not in words, but in tears. Let that be enough. Let it minister to your soul. Let it be the closure and the new beginning, because from here on out things shift. That family member will never interact with you the same again. They've touched something divine, and it has mocked them. So what now? You keep glowing. You keep walking. You keep loving. You don't need to explain what happened. Just let your life remain a prophecy. Let your silence remain powerful. Let your eyes carry the compassion that says, I've already forgiven you. Because the truth is, you forgave them long ago. That's why God could use you. That's why heaven could flow through you, because you didn't let pain harden you. You let it hollow you out so glory could live inside, and now others are drinking from your overflow. Chosen one, you are not just healed, you are holy, not perfect, but set apart. That's why your presence breaks chains. That's why people cry around you and don't know why. You carry the atmosphere of heaven, and every time someone steps into your energy, they step into a realm that breaks ego, awakens truth, and touches the spirit. The tears are just the beginning of revival. Your family has just been marked. Their healing has just begun, and it all started because you said yes when no one understood. Now heaven is saying yes to you through every tear that falls.